When I think about my Sarah Lawrence education, I think about the rigor of the education, how analytical it was, how demanding it was for me. I came from a public school, and I had not really experienced that kind of academic rigor before getting there. And so it was a very demanding environment where learning to analyze problems, learning to read carefully, learning to communicate with other students, the amount of attention that we receive in individual tutorials through the Donning system, all of those things are very similar to what I've ended up doing today. So when I meet with clients or colleagues, what am I doing? I'm meeting in small groups, and I'm talking about ideas. I'm talking about positions that we should take, strategies that we should adopt. If you're preparing for a conference, you have some sense of what you need to be ready to talk about. It may be a chapter of a book you're reading. It may be a film that you just saw. It may be something that you just saw at the opera. But whatever it is, you have a feel for what it is, and you know that you're going to have to come to that conference ready to talk about it, to try to come up with new ideas about it, to really engage a professor in, broadly speaking, in that area, who's obviously going to be very bright and very knowledgeable, and you don't want to be in that situation where you're not able to kind of hold your own or carry your own weight. And so it's very similar to when you prepare for a meeting with a client. The client has expectations about your level of expertise or your level of knowledge. I do an enormous amount of writing now, and at Sarah Lawrence, obviously an important part, an interstitial part of what we do is writing from the very beginning, writing in class, writing long papers at the end of the semester, and all of those skills began to develop there, and they're skills that I use today. I'm a litigator, so I represent my clients in court. I represent them in conflicts, and I don't have what I would consider to be a single area of expertise. There are a number of areas in which I work, and so I am learning new information about new areas all the time. In particular, I took a class at Sarah Lawrence called Due Process of Law, and it had not really occurred to me before I took that course to become a lawyer. And that class was taught by a person who took a standard law school text on constitutional law, specifically the cases around due process and equal protection, and taught a seminar of about 10 students out of that book in the same way that really I was taught several years later in law school. The one component of a lecture in law school that is similar to a seminar at Sarah Lawrence is that most law schools use the Socratic method, or use a method where the professor calls on students and expects them to be able to talk about whatever the reading was the night before. And that was very much like what I had done at Sarah Lawrence, and I felt very well prepared for law school.